All right, guys, so back on the John Deere B today, and if you're a subscriber, you've seen me working on the rear rims. Then last night I mounted up new rubber. Today the project is going to be the Magneto. And when I first got this tractor, for you guys that haven't been following this tractor, when I first got it, it ran like crap, and I was jacking around with a Magneto. And let me just go ahead and say two things right off the bat here. One, the camera's gonna shake, so my hands shake like a leaf. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Second thing is, I am no mechanic, I am no expert at this stuff. I'm just making videos to try to help the next guy. So you can take this information with a grain of salt. This is what I'm going through. It may help you. There are a lot more experienced guys out there, but a lot of those guys, you know, they're not making YouTube videos, a lot of them, with the exception of, I just did watch a video from Zeke the Antique Freak, who was showing how to set the Magneto and also set the, well, just how to time the Magneto with a tractor. But I'm having a whole lot of trouble figuring out the settings on the back side of the Magneto, the lag angle. So what I'm doing with that is I pulled out my book. I just about forgot I had this book. So I pulled out my book. This is the back side of the mag, and it tells you right here how to set that lag angle. Now, I was jacking around with this tractor a couple of months ago because I saw a strip of paint here where somebody had rotated the mag since it had been painted, so I thought it was just out of whack a little bit. Then while I was messing with that, I realized that they had crimped or had pinched this temperature line behind a bolt there. So I thought, well, hell, I'll take that bolt out. While I took that bolt, I took the bottom one out. So I'm looking at the back of it, and well, hell, this ain't turned the way that I think I saw a video. So I started jacking with it. I should not have done that, or I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I'm sure I've got this Magneto now out of whack on the back side of it. So anyhow, I may or may not have the mag timed to the tractor right, but I'm almost certain that I've got the mag timed, the lag angle or whatever you want to call it, the marks on the back of the mag are wrong. So what I'm going to do here is what I've learned from watching these other videos and reading in the book a little bit. This top one should go to the left-hand side cylinder. The bottom one should go to the right-hand side cylinder. Watch Zeke the Antique Freak's video on setting your Magneto to your tractor. He's going to do it a whole lot better than I'm going to do it, so I'm not going to go through the trouble of even showing you that. What I am going to do is I'm going to disconnect my wires, and I'm going to pull out this bolt up here. I'm going to pull out the bolt down here. I'm going to pull the mag off, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the back and what I'm dealing with. Oh, and one other thing I should say, I can't get this tractor to run at all now. It ran like crap before. It sat here for a couple of months. I've done some work on the tank and jacked around with that Magneto while I had the tank off, put everything back together. I can't get it to run at all now. So I know I have screwed myself up with this Magneto. I'm going to take that mag off. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the back, and I'm going to show you the mistake probably that I made, and hopefully you won't do the same thing. All right, so I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is I got the mag off, and I got a book that tells me how to set the timing on the back of the mag. So blah 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 blah, witness mark aligned with the second timing mark from the left, like that. Well, here's the bad news. There's the witness mark, and I've got it just about dead nuts with the second timing mark from the left. Now you see that scratch in there, where my big old fat finger is? That scratch is where the witness mark was set when I got the tractor. So, now that I know what I know, I'm going to set, again, according to how Zeke the Antique Freak set his, look at his video. I'm wondering if I got my mag flipped 180 degrees. Anyhow, watch Zeke the Antique Freak video on how to do the reinstallation of this mag. So I feel pretty good about the witness mark being set to the right angle or whatever. I know this means something. This 35 degrees. I'm hoping that 35 degrees is that second mark there. But this is the book. You know, this is the John Deere. This is a copy of the original manual, and it talks about, I mean, this applies to every mag except for if they make an exception in the description, which here, you know, this tells you how to do everything unless you've got an XH909. Well, I don't have an XH909. I've got a XH477, 4771, 477 something. So anyhow, it ain't no 909, so this should be what I do. So that's what I got here. So now, go over to Zeke the Antique Freak, check out his video, and then come back to this if you want, and we'll see what happens with my tractor. Alright guys, so we got the mag back on the damn bench again. It's a little frustrating. It's probably hard to hear me. I got the fan going because it's hot. I took the damn thing back off again because I can't get it to do nothing still, and I'm moving this marks back to where somebody has scratched a couple of marks in it. They did it up there and they also did it down there. You see them shiny marks? I'm putting it back on them scratch marks. I don't know if somebody's done something goofy with this mag or what, but I'm gonna put it back on them scratch marks, stick it back in the tractor, and see what the hell happens here. Alright guys, so that last little clip was from 2 days ago, and I'd had enough. I couldn't figure it out. I tried it with, you know, putting a mag line back up with them scratch marks. I'm getting spark, or I was getting spark out of both cylinders, or both spark plugs. I know I had the timing right. I'm getting plenty of fuel. Only thing I could think is that spark was just so weak that it wasn't enough. So I kind of gave up on it. I was getting pretty frustrated, and as luck would have it, I found a fella down the road, not too far from my house here. He does a lot of work on hit and miss engines and old tractors and stuff, and he helped me out considerably. I went over, first time I'd met him. He's super friendly, super helpful, and we went through this mag a little bit, and first time when I talked to him, he said condenser's probably bad. So he sent me out, or actually I went out. He said the condenser's bad, we'll work on it, come back tomorrow. So I went out and got a condenser for it and brought it over there to him today. This is a Napa condenser that I bought. The number that all these X mags come up to, they all cross back to this. It's a WI200. That's the Napa number. That's an Eklund Napa number. It looks like a 1, but it's an I. It's WI200. This is the old condenser come out of it. And he looked, his name is Bob. Bob looked at those points. We took the cap off here. He looked at the points and he said, yep, the condenser's bad. Just by looking at the points. He said all that white oxidation around them points, that's an indicator that the condenser is bad. So we replaced the condenser and cleaned up. It's pretty nasty in there. This thing is kind of a mess. The cap is busted here on the bottom. I've ordered a new cap, but that was letting moisture and nasty dirt and everything in there. One of the bolts was busted off in the cap. One of these cap bolts was broke off, so Bob drilled it and retapped it. So now all 4 bolt holes are good. I'm going to get a new cap. I've actually already ordered that. That's on its way. We cleaned up the points real well. We took them out. He checked the coil, said the coil looked good. Magnet, he had like a feel for it. He rolled it over. He said the magnet felt strong enough. The coil looked good. We took out the points, cleaned those up. We cleaned up the inside of the cap, the contacts in here. They're pretty worn out. The 2 copper contacts for the plug connectings, those copper contacts are pretty worn in there. So new cap I think is going to help considerably. But after we put in that new condenser, he cleaned it up good with brake parts cleaner, blew it out and dried it out real good. Cleaned everything, put it all back together, and man, I'm telling you, it threw a hot spark. So I'm real hopeful that now this will fix the problem. I still do have it lined up, and I talked to him about those marks. He said, there's a good chance that somebody just marked it before they took it apart, and that's probably where it was running. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it right now. It's not timed like the book says, but somebody had it that way. So I'm going to leave it like that for now and see if it'll run like that. And while I was Friday, today's Sunday, Friday, that last clip I made, I was getting pretty frustrated and everything. I'd kind of given up on the mag, and I was looking for something else to do before I started throwing shit and breaking stuff. I got my old Harbor Freight compression test kit out here. I just picked this up a few months ago. You know, it was a tool that I don't have in the shop, so I figured, what the heck, I don't need one very often, but sometimes I do, and I don't know how well to trust it. I saw some terrible reviews about it, but for like 20 bucks, you can't touch a compression test kit from even any other compression tester for this price. So I figure even if it's not accurate, the compression reading is not maybe as accurate as the others. Hopefully it's consistent. If it's consistently inaccurate, I'm okay with that, because I'm not so much concerned with the pressure on the 2 cylinders. I'm concerned about the difference pressure. So if say that gauge is off 5 pounds, that's okay. As long as it's off 5 pounds on that one and it's the same off by the same 5 pounds on this one. I want to see if the compression is the same between the 2 cylinders. So these kits don't come with a big enough adapter for these the big John Deeres. I think that one worked for my H, but the A and the B, it wouldn't. So what I did was I sacrificed, it comes with 2 of these things with just a rubber tip on it, one's straight and one's angled. I pulled the rubber tip off of that. I gutted a spark plug, which is kind of interesting to do. Never gutted a spark plug before. So I gutted a spark plug and I welded that on there. So I got it good and sealed up, welded. It ain't pretty, but it's good and sealed up, and it works. So I can thread this in the plug hole, attach my tester, and I did that. The pressures I'm supposed to get, I think this thing calls for 70 psi on each cylinder, and that test is supposed to be done after the engine's warmed up. So I can't get it to run, so I don't know that I'm doing the exact correct procedure here, so maybe my readings would not read 70 even if the cylinders were good, but what I'm getting is 55, and I'm getting 55 on both sides. So I feel good about the compression there. So I don't think I got a major ring issue or anything, but one thing that Bob told me to do, he said the very next thing you need to do though is check your valve clearances. So I'm going to be pulling that valve cover off, and I'm going to check my valve clearances. I'll probably make a separate video altogether about that, but I want to see if I can get this mag in here and get it to run. So I'm gonna tinker with this mag a little bit. I think before I even put it in, I'm gonna go ahead and knock off this green paint and get it back down to the aluminum color. And I got a new cap coming, which is gonna be solid black. So I'm gonna knock this paint off before I stick it back in the tractor. So I'll catch you guys up here after I get it back in, and hopefully we'll get it running. Can't get no more rotation out of the mag. It's backfiring real bad. I take it back this way, it gets worse. Woo! That was a big one. Well, you saw it running there. I couldn't help myself. I put that mag on, and I could get it to start, which is an improvement, but man, it was coughing and puking and popping, and it was running like shit. And I don't know. I was rotating the mag, trying to get it to sound decent by rotating the mag, and it just wasn't happening. I'd go all the way forward and it would run. It would stay running. I go all the way backward and it almost would die. I mean, it was just backfiring that bad. So anyhow, I'm taking a break from it. That was a couple days ago. I ordered some parts, so I'm waiting on the parts to come in, and I'm going to get back on this thing. But I started doing some research on it, and I know you're not supposed to use modern plug wires and stuff. I really hadn't looked at them too much, but you know, I'm just gonna kind of start at square one, go back to basics, and make sure everything is put together right. These wires are using this black carbon, whatever that stuff is. This is a modern automotive plug wire, I guess. So I've ordered a set of copper, you know, old school copper wires. I'm waiting on those to come in. I also ordered a cap, and you can see what I was talking about with that cap. It's got the busted corner out down here, those contacts in there. I cleaned them up as best they can be cleaned up, you know, the working surfaces there, but I'm afraid that maybe there's an issue with the contacts here. And the rotor looks good. I cleaned it up, but I'm gonna go ahead and I've ordered another one too. So I knocked the paint off the housing on the mag. I sprayed some clear on that, so it looks good. If I take a spark, or not a spark plug, if I take a screwdriver and I ground the screwdriver on the housing there, and I go to the contact on the coil and rotate that mag, it throws a hot spark out of the coil. Now at the spark plugs, it's still throwing a weak spark. So I'm hoping that a new rotor, cap, plug wires, and I'm going to stick a brand new set of plugs in it. Again, I've been sticking plugs in this thing. I'm using these 3076 auto lights. They don't make the 3077 anymore, so if you guys got any of them 3077s, hang on to them, because they're like gold now. But 3077 would be a little bit hotter plug. So anyhow, the 3076 is what I'm using there. I've also been doing a little research. I borrowed my brother-in-law's timing gun. This is going to be all new to me, trying to time this John Deere tractor using these instructions that I found right here. This fella, Dwayne Larson, some of you guys that are into this may have heard of him. Some of you other newbies like me, check him out. Just Google Dwayne Larson John Deere, and there is a wealth of knowledge out there, specifically at his website, jd2silservice.com. Dwayne apparently was a very, very smart man, did a lot of research and work on these John Deeres. It must have been his passion, and unfortunately we've lost him. So that was I'm sure a huge loss for you know, the John Deere community. But thankfully his wife is maintaining the website with a lot of the information on it still. So I've printed out directions for timing the John Deere 2-cylinder, and I've been looking at some of his old PowerPoint presentations that he was giving at the Gathering of the Green, and this is part of timing, you know, and about Magneto and stuff. Check that website out if you guys are into these 2-cylinders at all. That jd2silservice.com, man, there is a ton of information on there about spark plugs and timing and tire. I mean, you name it, it's on there. Rims, it's an amazing little website. So I'm waiting on the parts. When I get the parts, we'll get back out here, we'll get on this thing. We're going to start fresh. We're going to start with plugs, wires, cap, rotor. We're going to make sure the mag is good. Then we're going to put it back on the tractor, and we're going to follow those instructions, and we're going to be using that timing light. So this is going to be the end of this video. This is kind of what not to do. So hopefully you guys, hopefully this video is helping you. If you're struggling with your John Deere like I am, and I'm helping you, that's the whole idea here. That's why I'm putting this video together. Click that thumbs up button if this is helping. And if you want to see me go through the rest of the process of try to get this thing running right, we're going to be doing that timing. That's going to be the next big project with this tractor. Click that subscribe button and you'll get to see, you know, what that entails. And hopefully we get this thing straightened out real soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one.